Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Sarah here. I'm really excited to be talking to this beautiful human today. Nevena, Dr. Nevena, I've worked with before quite closely when I was doing a lot of teaching for medicinal cannabis in marijuana. She is just a beautiful human being. So she's a UK trained doctor. She's come over here and she doesn't practice over here as a doctor, but she works with the colleges in terms of the regulations and the training. But Nevena is a very special lady in that she has a very unique interest and passion for holistic health, and probably looking at helping to train and educate doctors to maybe look outside the normal scope of things we do and to look at more holistic ways of practicing medicine. So Nevena, is that an okay introduction for you? Nevena,
thank you so much, and good evening or good morning, everyone. Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah,
can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. So hello to everyone, and yes, I'm Nevena, and just slight correction. I have finished in classical homeopathy through UK college, but I have been trained in Europe, in Serbia, as a medical doctor. So, and I don't practice as a doctor here. However, as you heard, I have many interests, and I work in medical education and as medical science liaison. I sit on a couple of human research ethics committees. That's my passion as well. But I really have an interest which is not much dissimilar from Dr. Sarah, which I really respect, and I work with joy with Sarah, and it's always fun when we have a workshop when Dr. Sarah is teaching. so that's always a joyful event and very interesting, exciting time. So yes, my interest goes maybe is like Dr. Sarah's. It's more about holistic health and holistic a way that is holy. So something that is holistic is actually encompasses all our elements, because human being is not just a complex set of cogs and machinery, but very beautifully complex and intelligent human being that consists more than just physical body. So that's how I like to approach myself and other human beings, and that's how I look at people. So that means that apart from physical body, which is visible and it's most immediately available to us, and everything that is in physical world is measurable. However, there are some other dimensions that are not measurable, so they are a bit harder to view and perceive by our senses, and that's where I kind of start struggling, particularly for maybe medical professionals. You cannot analyze it. So that's where we go from thoughts and even emotion of love. How can you prove love? Yes, you can have some parameters in the body, neurotransmitters, and all that complex chemistry that is happening. However, that's not a proof of love. And then we go on even more refined levels, which is the level of the spirit and the level of the soul. So that's how I try to approach. And so maybe it's the holistic and integrative approach to human being. And I mentioned to Sarah when she asked me to write, and at times some things might be appropriate and needed for you, and some other times not.
No, that's
so
fantastic.
It's very fluid, dynamic. So it's very important to be moving and constantly evolving. So we are not a fixed parameter. We really live in fluid environment. We are fluid, so we need to adjust and have that sense and sensitivity toward ourselves and our being. How do we change, and what are our needs at the time?
Navina, I love that. It really resonates with me, particularly with what I love about, I guess, the
Can you
whole of.
hear?
Sorry, can you hear me, Navina? I feel like I've just jumped in. Oh, are you there? Oh, Navina, are you there? Hello.
It's all good.
Oh, are you there, Navina?
I am.
Oh, okay, great, great, great.
Can
No,
you hear
sorry.
me?
Yeah. I think the connection just cut out for a second there.
Hold
No,
on. Can you hear me now?
that was so great what you just said. I love the part where you talked about the thing. Hey guys, so sorry. That was my issue. My connection here is really bad today because it's crappy weather up here on the coast. So Navina, I'm so sorry. So can we just pick up where we left off from? So you were talking about, well, I was asking you were talking about the holistic health and how things in medicine, the stuff that we can't measure is often just as important as the stuff that we can measure. So things like love and compassion, empathy, all those kinds of things. My I guess real passion with medicine as well, and with what I'm sort of wanting to do is really bringing the soul back into medicine and into the practice of medicine, and that really sacred doctor-patient relationship, and really seeing human beings as a whole being and not just as I guess a physical organism that has symptoms and that needs medications to treat. And that's not to say you can't use those things, but in seeing people as a whole complex and a whole and linked to their environment and to where they live, and they have a social structure, and so all these things that um contribute to health, I think. And I that's where I'm kind of feeling that you're also talking about and coming from.
Certainly, and you have phrased it nicely. It's bringing the soul back to medicine, because when the medicine started in kind of more official way, because healers were there always. So with Hippocrates, it was always meant to be the art and science of medicine. And somehow with technological advancements and capabilities of going deeper and deeper into the cell, from the body and, the organs and the tissues and the cells, and within achievement, we somehow lost view and track of the other thing is with what we struggle with, and I have said how many years now, but it's such an exponential growth that we have started believing that the speed of the internet actually we need to compete with it and equate it with the speed of the processing of information. So because of that, everything is somehow fast. We want fast food, we want fast results, we want to lose weight quickly, we want to build muscles quickly. We want everything instantaneously. And in this process, so that's where the science is taking us when it's devoid. And in a way, it's malnutrition of science if there is no art in it and when there is soul in it. In such a way, with this technological, and you see what's happening with AI, and I endlessly complain because intelligence can be only attributed to living beings, not to the machines. So it's a processing mechanism, and it's incredibly exciting, but it should not replace and be humanized. We are actually humans, so we should not be humanizing machines and dehumanizing people.
Yeah. Yeah. I find that's
because human beings are human beings. So
yeah,
the thing is that
you go on.
so another thing, yeah. So look, another thing is then in this process, obviously, no one is in a way exempt. That includes our beautiful profession. of not just medical doctors, but practitioners, nurses, psychologists, healers, anyone who is helping. You don't need to have post-nominals to be able to help another human being help themselves. We actually all heal each other in these invisible interactions when we meet each other. The societies where we live, in your local area, global, we actually do affect each other. But because those links are invisible and immeasurable, we tend to think that those influences are not that strong. However, they are much more important and much stronger than physicality, which we can measure. So even for the doctor-patient relationship, or healer or therapist, patient or another human being, I even don't like the term patient, but another human being who is trying to find some better solution for their life and health and well-being, that relationship is something that belongs to the third dimension, which is time and space. So in order for someone to open up to someone, to actually recognize your problems and you discuss them with someone that you trust, whoever that might be, your doctor, your nurse or psychologist, or your friend, or whoever you everything is so condensed. So we are supposed to solve the problems of living problems or health problems in 5 to 7 minutes or 15 minutes, and then we lose patience. Yeah. So I think that's really a heavy consequence and a negative effect of this technological insanity of race, because our being and our consciousness will never be able and is not meant to catch up with this exponential growth and speed of the internet. Because please, let's remember, these are still machines, and that's what they do. Machines do that. So because of that, we have, in a way, stunted consultations because they're so short, and it takes time to open up. And particularly when you go to someone to ask for help, you come from the point of being wounded. You come from the point of deep sensitivity, and you cannot express that in a short period of time. So someone needs to allocate time and space in order to express that what is deep down within you, because you might not even be aware of that pain that is sitting in you. But through that process of inner comprehension and inner understanding, actually process of healing and can happen through self-awareness as well. But for that, we need to slow down. We need to allow each other to hear each other. We have stopped listening to each other. And I even heard a term that is called rebuttal listening, because we listen to each other just in such a way that we are immediately phrasing and forming all the rebuttal or response wording. So what's happening actually is two close circles are trying to communicate with each other, two spheres, and they just bounce out back from each other. So to be able to be silent, and silent means without the chatter of the mind, which will certainly associate many things and will bring some things. And very naturally, our left brain is so geared up to bring solutions and allow the right brain to develop better in order to follow and be equally developed. That's what we need. So it's a little bit more silence and allowing that time and space for someone who is asking for your help. And like I said, that can be anyone that you care for, regardless of the relationship. Is it a doctor-patient or is it a brother-sister? It's just being there. And that's where we once more struggle, because our left brain hemisphere, which is logic, and all of that processing, which is a lack of mechanical processing, machine processing, which we really need. It does not cross the middle corpus callosum into the right brain, which is actually functions in images. It operates with pictures rather than the words. So sometimes you cannot even express, And it takes time to process the information, which actually is not information, but the emotional beyond language, which comes from, it's processed through the limbic system, but to be articulated through neocortex. So everything needs time. And if we can just slow down a little bit, something might unfold.
I absolutely love what you're saying, Nevena. Like, it just resonates with me so much. And if I can, there's a couple of things I just want to pick up on. So number one, when you talk about the connections and things like that, one of the things that I'm really big on and understanding at sort of the cellular level is now understanding how our cells actually use light to communicate at a subcellular level. And we don't measure it commonly, but the science is coming now where we can actually measure using photomultipliers to like measure the biophotons coming from our hands and like our mouth, for example. And just how our body's actually picking up on that from other people, which is why we love to be with other people. Like, even for example, like, this is great, we can talk here on the screen, but it's nothing like if we were actually together in person. I gave you a big hug, and you could feel my energy, I felt your energy, and it would just be amazing, right? And I feel that's also what we're kind of missing. I feel even when I speak to patients, I miss is like doing a short consult. You really don't get a chance to even just sit and be with the patient. And like you were saying, Nevena, sometimes it takes a lot of time for what any kind of wound or trauma or anything to come up. And it doesn't have to be deep trauma. Sometimes it can just be a mom struggling to cope with life, right? It can just be that sense of saying, I'm not okay. And I just need to share that with you. Because a lot of people walk in kind of going, look, I have this symptom, I'm not sleeping, or whatever it is. And you can sense that there's something deeper that needs to be addressed. But the way it's set up, we don't have the time to do that. So I really am hoping moving forward in medicine, and one thing that I'm really passionate about doing is creating more mentorship models with patients so that you can actually sort of guide them through things, and spend more time with them rather than just having a quick 15-20 minute consult, which, let's be honest, you're never actually going to really connect with that person. And to me, that's really what like healing and what medicine is really about, is having that connection with another human being and helping them to heal themselves through that connection as well. So as you as we I guess doctors and work in healing other people, but then allowing that connection and allowing that safe space for someone else to allow them to bring up what's going on and allow them to process their hurt, their trauma, their pain in a really safe space. Because it's so interesting you're in the psychiatry college at the moment, because that was my background training in psychiatry, which I ended up diverting into medicinal cannabis. But the Carl Jung's whole thing about the shadow and the repressed part, I'm so passionate about that, because I feel like so much of the time, Nevena, we spend our life projecting an image of what we think we need to project to the world, and we suppress everything else that we think is like the ugly parts of us. And yet all parts of us are beautiful. It's just a matter of allowing that, because like we all have good and bad parts to us. And so that's why relationships are so interesting, because they're mirrors for one another, right? We what we see in the other person, often we sort of, if we don't like it, it's often a reflection of a part of ourselves that needs to be addressed and acknowledged. But I just love what you talk about, Nevena. I think I love the fact that you talk about it from a whole human perspective, that it's not just someone going in and presenting and saying, here, I have this symptom, I need this. What you're really talking about is like a person coming in and saying, I am this, or I feel broken, or I'm going through this, or I have this pain. And I need a safe space to share that with someone. Is that kind of what you're saying in a sense, Nevena?
Absolutely, and you certainly expanded even further on that. Uh, but once more, we need to think as something that has been imposed on us, which is really something artificial and completely false frameworks and structures. What does it mean to be a human being? What does it mean to be joyful and happy? How does it even look like? Because now we have those images around us available, staring at us 24/7, and we kind of we deep dive into it because it's very appealing, and you have certainly watched the social dilemma and the way those technologies and social media is structured to go so deep that you're not even aware of that we are constantly in a grip and a grind of comparison. I call it obnoxious comparison principle because the better card than you. And it's not because you're greedy or anything. It can be simply because we compare each other. We actually, that's our survival mechanism, comparing the patterns and what is dangerous, what's not dangerous. And that actually digs deep down into reptilian brain as well. So you have reptilian brain, which is the first reaction, it's the fastest response. We have seen that lots during COVID, how people really struggled, and we all struggle globally, don't get me wrong. But then it needs to go, when it goes to limbic system, I like, I don't like, I hate, I love. And that's the like a binary response, plus or minus 1 and 0. But all of that, once more, it takes actually some time in order to go to the newest part of our brain, which is the newest baby on the block or kid on the block in evolutionary pathway. So it goes from reptilian, which is really our basic survival, fight or flight, then goes limbic, which colors our life experience with emotions. How do we feel about something? And then it goes to understanding. So, but if we are left at the level of the limbic system, we are constantly in danger. And I remember one lovely doctor, she explained to me, it's called the flapping, like a flapping. So the cortex needs to protect the limbic system. So that is, that's, some things are just irrational, strong emotions. But when we are constantly agitated, what's coming up at us at all times, and, courtesy of social media a lot as well, and really bad news all the time, then it goes like that, it's unprotected. And it's continuously agitated, irritated, and reactive. So there is even a big difference, and everyone would know that from their personal experience. I certainly have that as well. When you react, which is very quick reaction, and that actually comes from reptilian part of brain and limbic system, and it's very intense because there is not that time frame in order to filter it to neocortex to make some decisions, to analyze and say, actually, I don't need to freak out because the dog just barked. He's not going to eat me up. It's not saber-toothed tiger. And then what happens next is that, but when we are constantly with what is happening, we constantly have that open up and vulnerable. We're very vulnerable. When you're vulnerable, you want to feel safe. You project being reactive and sometimes even more violent than you ever wanted to be. Because from that point, it comes to that basic survival mechanism. And that's why we struggle so much and comparing ourselves constantly. How should I look like at this age, for example? It's a very difficult burden on everyone, for men, women, for everyone, because there is some artificial model which is unachievable. The other thing is that there are some trends in in this system that suddenly we are supposed to treat aging. So suddenly it's not normal that something being goes through. That's seen as a failure. So we honestly have so much on our shoulders that I think we are doing incredibly well. But just seeing maybe some of those things and what influences us on a daily basis, our being, which starts believing the lies that are there. And then becomes even more difficult because we merge with the image of our environment. So maybe a practical little thing is that because those questions from that immersion, so it's removing your mobile intentionally, disabling the alerts and things like that. Because even this, every time it creates this fast reaction, and it's reaction and it's not response. So I'll just come back to the point of the limbic system and the neocortex. So differentiation, how do we react to something? Is that's what I learned from homeopathy.
Hang on. Sorry again, guys. It's my bad again. Living out in the sticks. bad reception. Yeah. Sorry. So Nevena, that was so super interesting what you were just saying about the limbic brain and the neocortex. Basically having control over that, and that we can react or respond to situations. And I found particularly, like, I've done a lot of work with a core wound counselor, and spent a lot of time delving into sort of I guess wounds, like major wounds that I have had, and that would like flavor the way that I would respond to things. And whilst it's actually a somewhat painful process to go through, it's actually incredibly liberating when you're able to recognize the programs that are running that limbic brain. Like when things happen and you react and you go, so most people are unconscious of their reactions, and then you move into a conscious awareness that you're conscious of the reaction, and then to move into a point where you can preempt and go, hang on a minute, I'm about to react this way. I can choose a different way, which is what you're talking about with the neocortex having more control in that sense. But I find, in my experience, that was only possible when you were actually able to really process the programs that you've got already there, and bringing that conscious awareness to the unconscious, if that makes sense. So that's kind of what I'm hearing you saying, and that's the power as well of using the frontal part of your brain, and using that to help engage. So you're not so, because I find a lot of people would, like you were saying, in that limbic brain, I love or I hate, I love or I hate. So they're either going towards pleasure, they're seeking pleasure, or they're avoiding pain. So it's these two sides of the thing you're always doing if you're living in that reptile, in that sort of more primitive brain. Whereas when you can get into the neocortex, in that creativity, and like one of my passions is helping people to find what brings them joy, because I feel joy is very much an experience that we have when we have connected left and right hemispheres, particularly in the frontal lobes. And so I'm always trying to ask people, in fact, I ask people so much, what brings you joy? Like what makes your soul sing? What is it that you love to do? Because I find when people, you can always tell, because when they start talking about something they love, they light up, right? And you can see it in their eyes, and you go, wow. And it's almost like they step out of that reptilian brain into this mode of creativity, which is so beautiful. And I feel like a lot of the times people live their lives according to what other people think they should do. And like you were saying, they measure up to all these other images and ideas we have about what we should be, who we should look like, what we should be, what's our status of success. rather than finding that inner voice in themselves, that inner beauty and creativity that allows them to go, this is me, I am who I am, and I want to live my own unique experience and have that beautiful, like you were saying, that there's an art to it as well, and that there's I think, yes, that there's a science to everything, but there's also an art to everything too. And this is the thing I definitely think we're missing in medicine, is the art of like coaxing out people's beauty and creativity and joy. And but yeah, for me, I'm really about, I want to help people find themselves, like find who is Nevena, who is Sarah, who is this patient that is in front of me, what are their joys, who is it inside of them. And I feel like when they live, so like when people are in that limbic mode of their reptile brain, they very rarely access that part of themselves, because they're just going from chasing pleasure, dopamine hits, whatever that is, or avoiding pain. I want to avoid this, I don't want to feel that. So yeah, it's so amazing. I love what you're saying, Navina. I just love it. I really resonate with it. And I just think you're such a breath of fresh air as a doctor, and someone that's within, helping to train other doctors too. I just think it's so beautiful that you have that mindset and you're kind of looking at this from a much more holistic view. I love that. I think you have so much to offer.
Thanks, Sarah. And the first principle of homeopathy is like attracts like. So obviously we connected, and the audience,
Yes, yeah,
watching,
we're like resonating.
we kind of reconnected after, because holidays and everything 2 days ago. I said, yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it, because
I know, let's just do it. Let's just do it. I love it. And I really feel down the track as well, it would be great, because I'm doing a live event in March, a speaking event, which I'm so excited about. And I have lots of props and things that I'll be using to explain how the mitochondria work and how our bodies work and our hormones work. And I even have hats, Navina. I have hats for different characters. So the hormones are going to be different characters. So because I feel like, as kids, we learn best by stories. And I still think it's the same as adults. I think we learn, and that's why we love movies and books. We love stories, we love characters. So I feel like teaching people and communicating, especially teaching complex concepts, is so much easier when you can make them relatable. So that's what I'm really about for my live talk. But also down the track, I'm hoping to do more events where I can bring in some guest speakers as well. And I would so love to have you as a guest speaker. And there's so much going on this year as well. And I'm really excited that we've reconnected like this, because I would just love to I would love to engage you a bit more, Navina. And particularly, I think what you bring and your knowledge on that, around that aspect of our experience, and the reptilian brain and the neocortex and the frontal brain. I just think that's so great, and gives people a lot more awareness. If you could give people some, like, say, a couple of things that they could start doing to help themselves right now, what would that be?
I thought about, and I actually believe in practicality as well, because apply how is that relatable to my life. It becomes a bit more. It is actually a bit abstract. So I thought about that. The moment you talk to someone, like I said, there is light. So it's trying to remember, and I usually ask people when I work with them and do consultations as well, to help them soul dynamic, spiritual, little things and big things together. So what did they want to be as a child? What did bring them joy? And you really hear very unusual things which are so unrelated, for example, at times with what we actually do for work and what's our profession and all of that. But all those things, profession and work or whatever, that's a labeling a human being. But you said very nicely, I want to know who you are, not what you are. So that human being, which is a unique you, and there is no one else in this world and never will be till the end, from the beginning of time till the end of the time, who is so beautifully unique as you. And you are perfectly positioned where you are in this moment. And of course, you start out better to transform yourself. And even the things that we, like you said, have our shadow sides, and there are different names behind that. It's actually about transforming it. So we keep thinking, oh, I should never express negative emotions. I should always be zen. Actually, it's not about that, because that's part of human experience, because we live in the world of duality. However, there is that transformation, and I was actually entertained that the connection dropped again, because that gave us opportunity to both suddenly. So are you going to be calm, or you're going to freak out, or you're going to, start disconnecting everything? And then, where am I at the moment? And the thing is that, please honor your body. It is so easy to desert your body. Our mind, which is absolutely wonderful, but is constantly in the past, churning something in the past, is looking something to the future. And you literally desert your body, and you forget to sit here, talk to Sarah, and I'm talking about the highest level of intelligence that operates so many functions that no computers in the world will ever be able to do. And to have gratitude for every breath that we take in the morning when you open your eyes, to just admire this miracle. And I usually differentiate, that's another thing that I'll give you. I hope it was practical, maybe so a little bit vague, but another thing, for example, like Sarah, I go to ocean every morning for a swim, and I've noticed that even with the exercise, for example, and something that's really good for you, there are two ways how can you do things. One way, or hard driven. How do you differentiate? When I go for a swim, for that experience, for that immersion, and I do not measure minutes, how long I'm going to stay during winter. It's a bit cold. I monitor my body to see how long my body needs to stay in this moment, in this water. I feel the water, I see the sky, I look at the birds. And that moment is so precious because you are there. You're really present. When your mind is driving you, you are going to want to achieve something. That you swim 2 kilometers, that you do it in a shorter time. So the moment you start relying on some parameters, you start relying on your left brain. And even that experience can be made stressful because apparently you did not achieve something. So remember, whenever you do something, whatever that might be, if you're reading a book, if you're walking, cooking, there is a difference. Is it object-oriented? That's your left brain constantly pushing you to tick this up? Or is it a process-oriented, which your soul wants to enjoy in the process? Your whole being, you're chopping the onion nicely. You're doing it not to finish the lunch, but you're doing it. So remember those parameters. Even when you look, I would look at the, you look at the ocean and the birds or the swans. The moment you start counting swans, you can switch to the left brain.
That's
the moment the temperature.
Yeah.
That's so focus. Try it because we are constantly oriented left brain, which is required for our work. Everything has value, but it's about equilibrium.
Yes, 100%.
What will
Yeah.
be what will be weighed in such a way, and we definitely need to more on the right brain and practical tip.
Yes. I love that. There's such there's also some great there's a psychiatrist called Ian McGilchrist that has written a book on that very thing about left and right brain synergy. I think it's called The Master and His Emissary, and brilliant book, but basically going through the fact that we are a left brain dominant society, and we need to bring the right brain back into it for beauty and art and love and passion and all those things that humanity is really about. So I absolutely applaud that and think that that's so beautiful. We might wrap that up there, I think, soon, Nevena, because it's been just close to an hour. So I'm sure people will be taking all that on board and processing everything that's there. Um, but I just wanted to thank you so much for talking to me today and for sharing your amazing wisdom. And I just honor you, Nevena, as just this beautiful person, and you're this gorgeous doctor, beautiful human, and just for who you are, just for the being that you are. And I just thank you for sharing you today with us. And I'm so looking forward to sharing this with my beautiful tribe of people that listen to my daily things and bits and pieces. So and I feel like this will resonate with a lot of people. And I'm really looking forward to doing some more work with you, Nevena. Oh, she gone?
And that, and look, you're such a wonderful humans are such a blessing, and it really,
Oh,
the blessings do shower at us, and we just need to receive them. So thank you so much. May God bless you. Thank you so much.
thank
And to
you,
everyone,
Nevena.
I hope
Thank
you
you.
will receive something, have some value. You're
Yeah,
in good company with
absolutely.
Dr.
And I
Sarah.
can't,
So
yeah, I'll definitely, I'm looking forward to doing something with you again. I feel like our paths will cross again for sure. But no, thank you so much, Navina. Now I'm just going to